That one they didn't really call him that, but
No,
the other one they
I don't
definitely
remember
did.
CNN bringing that one up some days. Right. We should all be working.
That one they.
There we go. Yep, I can hear Nick twice. There we go. Cool. Right, okay. In 3, 2, 1. Live. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Trek Central's weekly Lower Decks live stream. We're here on the 9th to celebrate the first episode of Star Trek Lower Decks. I'm joined by my special guest and co-host today, Mr. Dom. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
I'm great, thanks. I'm loving the art we've got done for you, so you look like
Yes,
on holodeck.
it's
We'll
beautiful.
speak more about that in a minute. And we're also joined by Mr. Ketwolski, who finally, after a couple of weeks of moving, is back in he's a new place, but also back on camera as well, so we can see his great dance moves.
Yes, indeed. It's great to be here. Exciting. I actually have some internet that is capable of supporting more than just negative 10 kilobytes per second. So that's okay.
It's great to have you back, to be honest. So obviously today we are going to be talking about Star Trek Lower Decks Episode 1. It's now out and about. Obviously some of you in the US and Canada have watched it. For those of you who are international viewers, sorry, we've got no news on that one just yet. Hopefully there's going to be something in the coming weeks, but we don't really know yet. You can check our previous videos from last week where we covered the international news details and what's going on that frontier, and hopefully something, might be coming of it, but at the minute it doesn't really look like it. But we'll touch on that at a later date. We're going to be discussing Episode 1 today. Before I do jump in, though, we do want to quickly talk about some of the art we've had done this week, which is by a very talented artist, who I've forgotten the Twitter handle of, trying to desperately find it. There we go. It's by Marcy, #WeAreStarfleet, or at Marcy Starfleet, and she's done the fantastic art, of which you can see Mr. Dom modelling right now. And it is looking fantastic. And if I go back to our start screen, you can see me, Dom, Nick, and TJ, who's our assistant editor, who might be in the chat as Star Trek Pike. I'm not sure if she's here right now, but you'll see her in there later. I'm really liking art, to be honest. I think it looks great.
Yeah, I think it looks cool. I like the little hat. It's very. I should have asked for a hat.
I always wear a beanie, so.
We need to actually.
Are you wearing one right now?
Yes.
It'd be a letdown if you said no.
Yeah, that would have been a good thing. Even if you're not, it's a good thing if you lied about it, because that's
exactly.
Yeah,
we'll never
because you
know up
refuse to
until
get on
those webcams come in stock. Don't worry, everyone. Not long now.
Yeah,
I still reckon I could hand deliver that webcam to you. By the way, it's sat over here.
You know what, Jack?
welcome.
I'm starting to come down on you because you've been saying that for like 2 weeks now. I could have walked it across the pond at this point.
I'd like to see that more, to be
there.
honest. If you want a paddle boat across the ocean to deliver a webcam, probably soaked in
across the
salt
Atlantic.
water. Your webcam, sir, it may not work anymore, and my life is ruined, but here you go.
That's it.
What kind of paddling's that? I thought he was actually going to be in a paddle boat, not doing a doggy paddle.
Listen. It's low and slow. Okay, that's how you make it go. Okay,
What?
That's how you make it go. Low and slow, very steady. That's how you swim. I don't know what kind of swimming you guys are doing
drinking that
in the
rum and
Queen's
whiskey
country.
Again. You've been drinking that whiskey.
No, Romulan whiskey, because Romulans have whiskey now, apparently.
That's something we'll discuss as well. One day we'll see Dom's face exactly still. One day he will let me show off the Andorian pictures of DST, and I promise not to murder me. But up until that time, you've treated to be animated, Dom, instead. Anyway, today we're going to be discussing Star Trek Lower Decks, Episode 1, Second Contact, the debut of a brand new animated series. And as Dom keeps pointing out to me in every script we've had this week, it is the first animated Trek series since 1973, which is quite a long time, and that date is now ingrained in my head. But I'm going to jump straight into this. I loved Lower Decks so far. First episode, loved it. I think only one moment made me laugh. However, as we'll discuss later, the this season on Lower Decks, that trailer made me laugh a ton. When Dr. Tananis turns around and goes, "Is he serious?" I pissed myself at that one. That's hilarious. And then the captain's like, "Don't you give me that sarcastic Vulcan salute." I lost it at that point. That was hilarious.
Yeah, sarcastic.
Live long and prosper.
Yeah. Yeah.
If it would only been made better if she went, "Live long and prosper, assholes," and just got off the bridge. I'm pretty sure that's been said in like Robot Chicken or something like that before. Either I've made the line up in my head, but something like that has definitely been said. But let's jump in. Nick, you was at the premiere, or the virtual premiere for Star Trek Lower Decks, which was on Tuesday, 2 days before, wasn't it, or Wednesday?
Yeah, it was 2 days before. Yeah.
So how did that go down? Can you tell us a little bit about that? What the celebrations were? Because some of us over here, we don't know about it. Could you give us a rundown on how things went on that side?
Sure. Yeah. I think about a week before the actual premiere of the show, I got an email saying, "Hey, do you want to go to this thing?" And I was like, for sure. I definitely like free stuff, and I totally want to be included on the club. So signed up for it, went to this thing, logged in. All it really was like, it was like a YouTube. It was like this. It was like a YouTube live stream where there was like a live chat happening over in the corner, and then just a video that was playing initially, like 30 minutes leading up to it. They were just doing like behind the scenes, like animatics of like the different like stop motion graphics and stuff like that, which was really cool because you got to see some of the designs of things that didn't quite turn out the same way that they were in the show. So that was kind of cool. You got to see kind of, I guess, some of the evolution of some of the designs. So that was kind of cool. They had some really bitchin' music in the background that were like remixed like popular songs into like Trek stuff. Everybody in the chat was like, somebody needs to release all these songs because they were really good. They were really fun. And yeah, it was really cool. I don't know what the heck I was doing there. There was so many people there, like all the actors from Picard and Discovery, Lower Decks were there. All the producers were there. It was very much like, I don't know what the hell I was doing there. And then Mike McMahon got up, did like a little spiel. He was hanging out with his mom watching it, apparently. Yeah, then we jumped right in. And then we got to see the second episode, which was, I've talked to you guys about this. I've talked about this in my videos. The first episode I thought was good. The second episode for me really is what knocked it out of the park. I thought they really nailed it with that one. So, but the event was really cool, very well done. It was probably one of the few things I'll ever be able to do that's actually kind of cool. So, you know, I'm enjoying that quite a bit. I know you guys got to go to the some of you. I think Jack, right? You got to go to the Picard premiere in the UK, right?
Yeah, myself, Dom, and TJ all went to that one. And two of our friends went as well, which is fun. That's back in January. It seems so long ago now. This year, thankfully, is moving quite fast. But the Picard premiere, that was fantastic. I was showing someone pictures of that yesterday, but yeah, we stuck Dom in the photo. Was it? I think it was a photo pit or something like that, and lost him for a good hour.
It was very cold.
It was very cold. I remember being stood there, and I've got my microphone next to me over here. I could reach over. Me and TJ were stood there filming. Basically, we were huddled together like sardines at this point because there's so many press people there. And, you know, Harry Treadaway came along at one point, went, "You guys look cold," rubbed our hands, said, "You look fantastic," pointing to my badge on it. So that's the definitive moment of that evening for me. But it was great with the Picard premiere. But I bet the virtual event was quite cool as well because I saw lots of people getting, not to rub salt into the wounds here, but I saw lots of people getting one of those boxes of like rum and whiskey and a lemon apparently and some other stuff. But yours seems to be lost in the mail.
I never got one. There was no sign up for anything really. Like when I had to create an account to register for the event, like it asked me for my address. So I'm assuming that maybe they just ran out or something. I never got one. So anybody who thinks that I shilled up my review because I got a fucking lemon and some whiskey or whatever, I didn't get that. So I shilled for free. So there you go.
If only it was so easy to buy reviews of a lemon and some whiskey, which is not even legit whiskey.
That's not even, it's...
like if there's a bottle of Jack Daniels or something like that, you might go, "Oh, well, hello."
Well, the thing was I think some people got a T-shirt, and I love T-shirts and sweats, hoodies and stuff like that. That was probably the only thing I was bummed about, so I would have totally loved
I've seen
that,
was it the Lower Decks exclusive T-shirt thing as well, which has been going on each week? Or was like that? It's like $180 to get into or something that wasn't it?
Well, it's $180 to buy all of the shirts.
All 11, I believe.
Subscribes you through all the shirts, and they just send them out every week. Or you can buy all the shirts individually, which I think is kind of cool. I probably am not going to go for the whole thing, and this is coming from the guy that has the $800
which we'll talk about it a bit later.
I'm probably not going to go for the whole $180 things just because I'm a little particular about shirts.
Yeah.
But once the show continues on, I'll probably go in there and probably buy one or two of them for sure because they look cool, and I want to support the show. I like it. I love this damn thing.
Which reminds me of one thing. For those who are interested in Star Trek merchandise, I tweeted this out in the week on the TC account. The StarTrek.com store has now expanded to Europe and the UK. So when we was all back in January looking at lovely Picard merch, such as the wine glasses and various stuff like that, there is now shipping to the UK from the Star Trek store, which is quite good. Some bits are right priced, I think. I've not looked lately. In fact, I'll have a gander right now. However, it's like, it's pretty good they've actually come to the UK. Like, I'm excited for this. Because now it means when we start seeing like Picard hoodies and sweatshirts and Nick's jumper he got from somewhere else, it's pretty cool. Do you still have that one?
I do have that. It's actually downstairs in the closet right now, getting washed because we're going through all of our laundry because we have like 2 giant mountains full of.
Oh, they've got a Lower Deck shirt as well. We should get one of these for next week's streams. Get everyone a Lower Deck shirt.
We should do that. That would be fun.
That'd be a great idea. Well, there you go.
Yeah.
That's next week's purchase. Anyway, let's talk about episode 1, as we've got sidetracked again. So, Dom, take it away. Talk about the references, because that was a big thing we all noticed of Lower Decks so far. And what sums up is that image from a trailer of Mariner just like looking at all the references and grabbing them all.
All the
that
references.
was basically you this entire week. They're going, oh my god, they've got this. They've got Endosians in the premiere or the season trailer.
Oh, yes. Animated series species I just love. So the fact that we saw an Endosian in the season trailer, I just love. But in the actual episodes, I was blown away by the number of references. And not just like the blatant references where Mariner was like, oh, do you know about Spock? He died. Spoilers, by the way. And just other small references like the melee weapon from the much loved TNG episode Code of Honor. It's not love. And it just blew me away. It really shows that the writers and the creators like Mike McMahon know their stuff and just want to put whatever they can into the show.
Which makes perfect sense really when you think about it. Sorry, Nick, take it away.
Oh, sorry. There was one that you had shared with me, Dom, that I didn't even notice, which was it the holodeck, or what was it that recreated the Orion city set?
That series? Was from the original series pilot, where Fina is an Orion dancer for Pike, and she's dancing, and the same architecture in that scene we see in the Adashake Center in this episode of Lower Decks, which I think is just amazing. That now we know that in the pilot, the cage, that was Orion, and now we finally get to see in Lower Decks a bigger picture of what Orion looks like, which is very different than what I would expect from what we know as pirates and those people.
Yeah, that's very true, because I think the other time we saw a lot of their architecture was in Enterprise, where they were dealing with the slavers during the Brent Spiner suing android, escapades. So yeah, that was another really great reference. There were so many. I honestly didn't even talk about them in my videos, just because I know that you guys are working on them, and so many other channels do great Easter egg videos that I don't even catch all of them. For sure not. I kind of just pick up on a few of the interesting ones. There's one though. There's a really fun one for next week's episode that I can't wait for you guys to see, because it's really funny. Like there's a funny, like a giant Easter egg, but it's hard to see it, but they're really packing it in there in a way that I didn't feel overwhelmed by it. I know I saw some people concerned with that. They were like, oh, there's a reference every 2 minutes, which to me, I didn't think that was the case. I didn't feel that at all. Did you guys feel that?
No, I don't think every 2 minutes. Like I obviously look at Dominic catches more references than I do, but I definitely didn't notice one like every 2 minutes. I mean, maybe it's me not paying attention. But I definitely didn't see that.
For me, it only seemed natural for the age and the timeline that they're in, that they're referencing all this stuff, and that it makes the universe seem more lived in. It doesn't seem like a crutch for the storytelling.
Most likely,
it just seems that it's there.
Most likely, what some are considering references is just like design in general, because it is next door to Nemesis and the Next Generation. It's in that same era, so a lot of similarities are going to appear as if references. Because realistically, we've not touched on the Next Generation era for quite some time. Obviously, Nemesis is probably the last time we ever really visited it, because Picard isn't really Next Generation era. It's progressed massively on. Discovery definitely isn't. Neither is anything else that's currently out and about. So therefore, this is the first time we've been back since quite a long time. So a lot of what people may be thinking is a reference every 2 minutes most likely isn't. It's just similarities of what's been shown before, where in fact other references, like when Satean Ops keeps popping up, etc., which people find the right laugh.
I mean, because I don't consider like the holodeck, right? It has the same interior coloring scheme as the one from the Enterprise D. I don't consider that a reference. No. Maybe it's just a design similarity, because they're just trying to visually connect it to that. I don't consider something that like as a reference, but I guess some people might consider it
Yeah.
a reference, but I don't personally consider it that way.
Likewise, I'd consider it a similarity just because it's similar to the design. The Cerritos or the Cerritos is basically similar to the Enterprise D in a way. They're not that far apart in terms of how long they were built. So, of course, things are going to be in a similar vein of design. That's just how it's made, which is good because it shows, unlike certain other things in the series where, like, you know, Discovery and then you bring up Pike's Enterprise, they look a bit too much, like, too far apart sometimes, some would argue, where here it's very, like, you know, the main ship of Lower Deck is very similar to the Enterprise D and probably the E if we got saw more of it, or at least other systems apart from, like, the bridge and everyone's room. I've been rewatching that. Yeah, the giant warp core in engineering. It must have had a warehouse to film that in.
Yeah, seriously.
I've been rewatching Nemesis and First Contact because I love those films. I was like, that is one big engine room.
Yeah, it is. It's a huge ass engine room, and it has a
play
force
on
shield.
Star Trek Online as well, and it's even bigger in that one because the scale of their interiors just went out the window. To be honest,
they don't know how to build interiors in any MMO. That's for sure.
The bridge on STO when I first played it, it's like, what the hell?
Yeah, it's huge. You're like this big. The room is like the size of my actual room. Yeah.
So anyway, Lower Decks. Obviously, we've all loved episode 1. What moments really stuck out to you guys? I'll go first. What stuck out to me as like a favorite moment I enjoyed was Dr. Tanana. I love that character. So obviously, Dr. Tanana's the Doctor. She's Katan. She's voiced by Gillian Vigman. I loved her character. I think I'm gonna love everything through it, and even in the extended trailer. I can't wait to see it. That's what stuck out for me, and I love her, to be honest. It's going to be great.
Dom?
Well, I think if you're choosing a bridge officer, then I have to choose... is he Lieutenant Commander Shax?
I think he's Lieutenant.
The Lieutenant. Lieutenant Shax, the big buff Bajoran security officer. I love him. He's voiced by Fred Tatasciore, who I think is an excellent voice actor, but just how very... shoot first, ask questions later he is, like, you know, Captain, I recommend we blow up the warp core. I just love him.
Much. Honestly, every script I've read so far in the last like 4 weeks has been our lovable Bajoran security officer. I'm like, he really loves this. He really loves Shax.
I love him so much.
We're getting you a poster of him with a ripped shirt done for you all.
Oh, with the Kirk like shirt, ripped shirt.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
See, Dom, if you hit the gym for like 6 months, you could then be Shax cosplaying that. There we go. We'll get that on camera.
There you go. Then you could be our lovable Bajoran.
Yeah, Nick will just punch you in the nose. Problem solved. I feel like that's slightly
there you
racist
go.
against Bajorans,
but yeah, you're welcome. That's how they make Bajoran makeup. Okay, you're welcome.
Star Trek experts, they said. What a load. Nick, take it away. Your favorite moment?
You know, I would say like there's two standout funny moments for me. One was when Tendi had the guy's heart in her hands, and he was like, "It hurt. That's my heart. It hurts every time you pump it." But she has to keep pumping it. That made me laugh quite a bit. And then I don't know why this makes me laugh, but when Mariner pulls out the Federation farming equipment, and Boimler is like, shovel and hoe. I don't know why when he says shovel and hoe, it just makes me laugh so much. It's just, I don't know why. I don't know. I think it's just the way he says shovel.
To be fair, as you told us, a fair few moments did make you laugh, such as the naked Olympic training, which got brought up. I remember you telling us you laughed quite a fair bit of that one.
Yes, that naked Olympic training, I did laugh at that when I first saw it, because for me, it was just so unexpected. I think is what it just caught me off guard, and I don't know why it made me laugh, but yeah, it was really funny. Yeah, those are probably like the funny standout moments, but really the whole episode to me was just, I don't know, like the whole thing was really great. I don't know about you guys. Kind of rolling into another part of this is, obviously, we watch these episodes, all of the new Star Trek episodes, multiple times, usually at least twice, because we're building up our scripts and getting our videos together and stuff. But this Lower Decks was the first one that I watched again. Like, I watched it last night while I was on the computer doing some other work, on my accounts and stuff like that. And I had it up on my other monitor because I just wanted something in the background. And this was probably the first of the new Trek shows that I have felt like I wanted to have it on in the background. I don't know how you guys feel about that, but that was something that
I think because it's 30 minutes, it's more ingestible. You can just put it on the background and you have a great time, and you don't have to worry about these massive great plots. It's just condensed into one episode. It's just It is just that. So yeah, I mean, I've watched it probably 6 times now.
Jesus.
I mean, I had to get those Easter egg videos out.
Don't put it on the Easter egg videos. You wanted to watch it 6 times.
And I wanted to watch it multiple times.
Yeah.
And I mean, even after watching it so many times, there are still many moments I just laugh. Like, none of the humor has worn out from that many rewatches, and I think that's a good sign, at least for me.
Yeah.
And that the humor speaks to me.
I totally agree with you. What you said there as well, Nick. I personally have struggled to rewatch like Picard, and it's not struggle, it's probably the wrong word, but I'm not drawn to rewatch, if that makes sense. Whereas Lower Decks, I feel like if I'm doing emails or paperwork, etc., like I mostly am, I could always pop that on one monitor and watch away and just like do that, because I have quite a lot of stuff sometimes I watch because I don't like working in silence. I like either listening to music or having some noise in the background, basically. Because I work alone in an office, it kind of just helps. So I'm thinking, having Lower Decks on, that's something I can put on, because I frequently put on Netflix and watch some really shit old TV at the minute. So I think Lower Decks is probably something I could watch, probably when we've got more of it out that I can like watch it for, a couple of hours on end, etc. Because with 30 seconds, it is kind of 30 minutes. 30 seconds would be short. 30 minutes, it kind of
would
is
be
hard.
Short. Yeah.
Hello, welcome to Lower Decks. Goodbye.
Yeah. What speed are you watching it on?
It's warp time, Mr. Kitwell Skill. Have you know?
Oh yeah, it's warp time. That's it. Yeah.
Anyway, one thing I did want to talk about quickly, which just reminds me of the opening titles. Obviously, that is a big thing for any Trek series. Picard, obviously, I love Picard's opening titles, but I loved Lower Decks titles even more because of that classic Next Generation feel, and also the fact that Cerritos just takes the piss throughout the whole thing, where it's like, going where old the ship's fallen back into the cluster now, bye. I love that.
Yeah, I loved it. I thought it was, I remember sitting there, and it started with just the Cerritos kind of panning over with the in the asteroid field, and I was thinking to myself, like, oh, this is going to be a classic TNG intro. Like, I already had that thought in my head,
so did I.
Because is just just everything we know about the show and the way it was already looking. So immediately that's what I thought. And then when it started to get hit by the asteroids, I was like, oh, this is going to be something else. Like, this is going to be something funny. And it was great because it was like the music is played straight, like it's standard, like I shouldn't say standard, but it's a very typical Star Trek theme song where it's just this orchestra music and stuff like that, but what's happening on screen is all this wacky stuff, and I thought it was great. I loved it. I thought it was great. I love the Romulan Borg cubes, as you can clearly see, and the inclusion of the TNG to Dare decks, which I also happen to have here for some reason. That was really cool. I loved all of it. I thought it was great. I really did enjoy it quite a bit. I loved it.
And Dom, what did you think of it?
Yeah, I absolutely loved it. Like Nick said, I expected it to be really straight with the music and how it started, and then it just did what it did, and I laughed so much. It's great. I love just like when it's going next to the like ice asteroids. Like, it's trying to like Voyager-esque. It's like a mixture between TNG and Voyager.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like its nacelle just scrapes the glacier and it falls.
It's like they're trying to be good but can't get it right. It's like they're trying the hardest to be like the Enterprise D, but just effing it up the whole way we go. And that I like, because it's like, we're not the best, we know it, but oh well. And for me, that sticks out.
Yeah, I thought it was great. I was actually when I was talking to my dad about it, because he's watched it as well, I told him, I was like, when we got to the titling sequence is when I knew that this show was something different. Like, I knew that this should not be taken as literally, not in a dismissive tone where it's like, whatever they do, it doesn't matter. but it should not be taken too seriously. And that, to me, the titling sequence is key to nail that down, because if you do it wrong, it mismatches the tone of what the whole show is supposed to be about. So they had to play it right. And I thought they merged it great with the funny visuals and the callbacks, to the TNG and Voyager style intros mixed with this great music. I thought it was perfect. I really did. It was amazing. It was good.
I totally agree with you. It was just fantastic. Like I said, originally, as soon as it started, I thought it was going down the Next Generation route when he was going to like born to go in space for Final Frontier. But it just took me by surprise. I love that, to be honest. So segueing in here a minute, because we've just reached our halfway mark for the stream. Nick, I was wondering if you could tell us more about your amazing new bit of Star Trek merchandise you picked up recently, which you did point out earlier, the Borg Cube, which is sat behind you. Now, of course, you have a video of this on your channel as well. I was wondering if you can tell us a little bit about it, as it's pretty cool, to be honest. And we do love our Borg Cubes over here.
Yeah, it is really cool. I mentioned in my video, I got this thing. I ordered it back in March, which was right after they went on sale. So they only did 62 of these for the US. So they did 2 runs. So I've got 17 of 31 for the first run. And I got the larger one. They sell smaller versions of this. Okay. I didn't want the micro cube. This is the standard size. And in there, it's all hollowed out because it's supposed to be a computer tower. It's like a computer case. That's Cherry Tree Inc. makes custom computer cases. They've made a Borg computer case for years now, just a regular Borg cube. But then they made this special edition, Picard one, because it was connected back to the Borg artifact from the show. I absolutely wanted it. I knew it was a huge waste of money. It was actually my wife that was like, just buy it. She's like, when are you ever gonna need this? Just, you have the money, just get it. And I was like, you know what?
So for context, like, how much did it cost again?
It was $800
Oh my God.
for the case. Yeah, it was a lot of money.
Yeah, when I build PCs, usually when I go for the case, like 120 is pushing it a little bit, to be honest.
Yeah,
right.
I'm pretty sure this one down here is about 100 at least.
I know.
But you have got those fantastic lights up there. You can control the lights from your phone, you was telling us earlier.
Yeah, I can control the lights from the phone, and then it also comes with 2 of these little remotes that you can kind of use. So it was actually interesting too, because all of the little dots that are on the Borg cube are all of them are individual fiber optic lines, and they all connect to this giant fiber optic lighting apparatus that I had to figure out how to set up. Like, there was a real hour gap in when I pulled it out of the box in my video, and then I had to turn the big light on. I unplugged the microphone. I had to turn the camera off because I'm sitting there like, what the hell is this? I'm trying to figure it out. And I eventually got it all working, obviously, but it was quite the feat of engineering I had to figure out there. But it's great, though. I love it. It came with this awesome hoodie that I'm wearing right now. This is the connection to the cards that Ramda played with inside of yes, exactly. That she was like, you're the destroyer or whatever. And on the back of it is actually the card of the 2 girls that she puts down that is supposed to be Daj and Soji that she references in the show.
So is that, as far as I know, exclusive to buying the cube only then?
As far as I know,
nice.
This hoodie is exclusive to that. You can't actually get this anywhere else. So that was also really great. This was kind of an afterthought for me. I was like, whatever, hoodie. But once I actually saw it, it fits really well, and it's actually really high quality material. So that was actually really nice. Because usually when people do stuff like this with the other main merchandise, it's usually kind of cheap. It's but they obviously cared enough to put it in there. But yeah, so it's sitting up there. It's going to be probably just in the background for about a year. Until I actually start to build my PC, which will then go into that, and then that'll still be in the background. But yeah, the whole thing changes color. You can kind of do any other color you want. I can turn it to red. You can barely see that, but I can go red alert with it. I can go blue with it. And then this other one here, which has a shorter range, you can kind of change the colors. I can't really reach it.
So it can go green. I was waiting to see, can it go green?
Yeah, so there it goes red, so I can go red alert on there, And then I'd be able to set it up, like I said, through the phone on the app, and then I'll be able to control it all through there. But I haven't got to figuring all that out yet, so I'm still working on it. But
I can't wait to see
really
cool. To be honest, that's going to be. You should totally stream about something when you do.
I probably will, And what's crazy too is it came in that, I don't know if you guys saw it, but it came in that giant wooden crate. I have actually sitting right in front of me right here. And I don't even know what to do with it yet because it's this big crate and it's got all these cool symbols and logos. Oh, I'm gonna keep it for sure. I think I'm gonna turn it into a bit of like an end table or something. I don't know.
Ooh, that'd be nice.
You speaking
might,
about that, one of the things I wanted to do when Picard was doing it, I was speaking to TJ about this. It was when he was doing like the Picard wine, where you could buy like a crate of it. And because I'm dumb with money when it comes to buying stupid shit, I saw the crate. I was like, I could totally buy that, give all the wine to Dom and TJ, and just keep the box and use it as a set piece for something like that. Like now I've got the space in my office, I probably could get away with it. But imagine just having the crate there as a set piece. It'd be great. Just like the
I would be happy with that.
I need like a studio to film it. Yeah, of course you'd be happy getting the wine. His ears pricked up there.
Yeah. You said wine? What wine? Any wine. Boxed, bagged, bottle, whatever.
Cartons, give it to me.
Carton, carton.
Ooh, that's some cheap wine.
Carton wine. Canned.
Canned wine. I bet Dom has a sign in his house, life's too short to drink cheap wine.
That's probably true. Yeah, you got one of the, it's right next to his live, laugh, love sign, I'm sure. Somebody's in the chat like, hey, I have one of those.
Have you tried the Picard wine yet? I don't think you have you?
No, I haven't, because they don't ship to the UK.
Oh, we just sort that at some point. We'll
so we need to
see
sort
one
that
of our lovely people in the US, wink wink, and they can ship it over to us.
I don't know anything about that. Sorry, I can't.
So he doesn't know until like a crate turns up on the doorstep.
That's right. Yeah.
Good luck shipping that. Right, chat. I'm gonna answer some of your questions, and I do see a few of you commenting in. If you do have any main questions, get asking now, and we'll do some more Q&A towards the end of the stream. But we're gonna chat a little bit about Lower Decks and the upcoming season 1. Thanks for the trailer we got, and then we'll come back to chat questions as well. Okay, so a few of you saying the cube is lit. Yep, Nick has a full video on his channel, and we'll be tweeting out this week on a social, so you can take a look at that. The change color is actually shield frequency modulation, keeps cats away to break it though. There you go. Didn't you say the cat had already tried to get on it?
Oh, he was on there. Wilbur was on that thing last night. I had to give him the old 1-2 to get him down, and he's going to be a problem for sure because it's delicately balanced right now. I got to build like something to kind of keep it up there. But yeah, so it's just don't look at it too closely because it might fall. So just don't even. I'll just lean this way so you can barely see.
So Seal says, I look forward to finding out what Mariner did to get demoted. So do I, to be honest. That is like an interesting concept there of what she did to get demoted. And considering she's on the ship with her mother, who's Captain Freeman, and the Admiral, her father, seems to be checking in, it is pretty interesting on why, things, how she ended up there. She mentioned she served on a couple of starships, which seems legit, saying she mentioned she serves on Nikito. Was that pronounced right, Dom?
Yes. Well, it's interesting because she says that she's been on the Cerritos for a year with Boimler. And the Keto was at the planet, was it Gala? With the Galadonians? Yes. They did first contact a year before this. So it might be an incident during first contact, which would be interesting. Where she got demoted and then sent over to Cerritos. That's my idea at the minute. Because the time would work out.
That would also place them in the Nemesis year as well, which could align things.
Yes, 2379. Yeah.
That could be. A lot of people commenting on the uniforms. Yeah, I really like the uniforms as well. I would love to see them in live action because I think they look great. Obviously, they're very similar to what we do see in Picard in 2385, isn't it?
Yes.
And I like those uniforms as well. I don't get me wrong, I love the First Contact, aka DS9 uniforms. Love them. However, I do love a bit of color as well. So the Lower Decks ones and then later the Picard ones, they look fantastic, and I can't wait to see like more of them as the series goes on. I would love to see them in live action. I already see many people online at a minute on the Trek community are doing cosplays in the Lower Deck style. That I can't wait for. Whoever cosplays Dr. Tanana in the we've got the collab coat as well. We know Dom can pull it off. I would love to see that.
Yes, I do have a lab coat.
He cosplayed a Star Trek Picard engineering officer, wasn't it? At
yes,
CST.
I did.
That was great. I love that. Did you actually get the rank pips in the end or not?
Yes, I did.
Oh, you did. Okay, what rank did you get?
Well, I've got as many ranks as I need.
Oh, okay. There's only one captain in this town, Sunshine.
What is the cryptic answer? I've got all the ranks that I need. Okay.
Yeah, so it's in
secrets.
case it's in case I need to change it out. So I got the whole set.
Dom's like that guy from DS9, with the augments like pop in, and he start impersonating an admiral. That's a stupid question. That's totally dumb.
So I have a question for you guys. In regards to Mariner and the connection to her parents that was revealed to us. And I'm just curious, do you guys think that she doesn't know that they're her parents, or do you think that she's just withholding that information from the rest of the crew?
I think she's withholding that information.
Okay.
I think it's obvious. Well, I think that she knows that they are her parents, and that's why she's rebelling against them. I think it's very much like a Tom Paris kind of situation. You know, Tom Paris rebelled against Starfleet because his dad was one of the admirals. So I think that's probably a similar situation with Mariner.
I theorized this on because we've just done our video recording today of the upcoming season 1 content, and I mentioned well, it'd be pretty interesting to see how the crew dynamic works out, knowing that Mariner is the daughter of the captain. Like, I'm wondering if Commander Ransom knows that, and also that would display how well Ransom and Freeman's relationship goes on. Have they got like a Picard-like a bromance going on? But so from the first episode, it looks like the senior staff, they go well together, but it looks like Ransom and Freeman, the captain and first officer, aren't like the best buds. There's pretty like icy divide there, it looks like, so far. But I do wonder how like Mariner's like revelation will go down amongst the crew. Obviously it's going to affect our 4 main characters, as we know that. They're going to find that pretty cool, I think. But everyone else, be interesting to see.
Yeah, I don't think that. I think it's she's withholding it from the other lower decks people. But somebody had thrown that out there in one of my comments. They were like, I wonder if like maybe it's like a hidden familial situation. But I was like, I didn't get that vibe. But I was curious to hear what you guys thought. I didn't get that vibe.
And I think it makes more sense with how like when they're in the sick bay and Ta'ana tells the captain you don't have much time, and Mariner says something like, "Oh, Captain, you better wash your hands." That makes more sense with it being her mother than her just being sassy towards the captain. Because I think Mariner is still a good officer and wouldn't say that towards the captain that wasn't their mother, but it's because it is their mother that they do say it.
Yeah, I agree with you, because for me, like, she talks a lot about it in the first episode where she's like raging against the machine, but she specifically says all they care about is getting their names in the history books and getting the next rank, which I don't think is a commentary really on the senior staff of the Cerritos. I think that's a commentary on her parents. I don't think it has anything to do with.
I think that's very interesting.
Yeah, I think it was
as well.
Because you got to think, right, like. We get to see some family members, like, especially a lot in Deep Space Nine. We saw a lot of that familial kind of situation, but it was a little bit different because they were on like a station that they could live on. TNG had some of that because like some people's kids were there, but not really. Like there was always like kids running around for the most part, but they weren't like directly.
That one.
Right. Well, it wasn't like directly like nobody on the bridge crew. We never had that episode on the bridge crew where someone's like, I can't show up for work or my shift because my kid's sick or whatever.
We did do a few episodes of that with Worf when he's looking after his son. There was a few things like that.
There was a few things like that with Alexander, right? And they did try to play that up a little bit between the two of them, but it was mostly, in my opinion, when I watched those, it was mostly about them just being ostracized by the Klingon Empire and then him trying to teach him how to be a Klingon and all this other weird stuff that they were trying to do in the Western episode. But it wasn't like super played up to where like you got to see like Wesley, I think, is like a good example where it's like he kind of rebelled in a lot of ways, and he didn't even, I guess eventually he kind of went back to Starfleet, but then he went off with the Traveler for a while because he was like, you know what, the hell with all this, I don't even want to do this. So I think that there's like there's something there to explore a little bit with, if you have two career-focused Starfleet officers as parents, how does that impact their kid if they're focused on their careers and doing this and that? Because not every ship allows families to be on board. So were there times where she was left behind on Earth, or was she just stuck in some kind of weird daycare thing or whatever it was with other family members? I feel like there's probably going to be something there. And I'm excited to see how that kind of gets revealed to the other lower decks people, and then also gets kind of continued to be played up in this season and the next season, because I'm sure that's going to be something that's played up. Because I don't think we're probably going to change ships. That would be weird. It's going to be weird.
They've made a big thing out of the Cerritos being the main flagship. It'd be like switching the Enterprise, etc. I think we're going to stay on there. Whether much will happen, like to the crew dynamic, I'm unsure of, and wouldn't want anything to happen just yet. But I think once we get a bigger picture of how the episodes play out, once we're probably halfway through, we'll be able to make like a proper assessment of that. Also, I love how people are going about the Vulcan salute thing. Don't you give me that sarcastic Vulcan salute.
Don't you give me that.
Live long and prosper.
So good. Yeah, so good. I loved it. Yeah,
love the bit in the Primo thing where it's like, how about maneuver 88? And it's just blank things like, is he fucking serious? I'm like, that is me if I was on a bridge forever. If like, is he really serious?
There's no wrong answer. Yeah.
And what was like when she likes the glue, or not the glue, the slime thing. You see her sniff him, and then he just goes, "What about this man? No, he's absolutely useless. But the slime, Captain, it's the slime." That bit there.
And the captain's like, "Protect this slime."
Yeah, not even the man. Protect this slime. And you do get a bit of Shax. It's like, Captain, I recommend we eject the warp core immediately. It's like you can tell every solution for Shax is going to be the most like. Yes. I swear we've had other characters as well where it's like we need to blow this up now. I guess I said in today's video as well. It does remind me of Worf. There's like a YouTube compilation of Worf always being denied by Captain Picard, and it's I've seen it on Twitter as well. I feel like Shax is going to be that guy where it's like Worf's like Captain Picard. I recommend we raise shields. No, Mr. Worf, and you see that for like 10 minutes.
Yeah, it's like in that season trailer where it's like Captain, I recommend we target the warp core, and then Captain's like. Execute evasive maneuvers. It's like, please come on. I want to shoot a warp core. I love him so much.
I imagine that probably is like a Star Trek like bugbear. It's like you want to shoot something. I mean, episode 2 is going to give us a lot more of that, to be honest. I can't wait to see more of Shax. Then again, I like the... So here's a good question as well and a good discussion point. The dynamic we're getting a good mix of the senior staff, but also the actual lower decks, our main characters as well. That I'm liking. Originally, I was kind of concerned that the senior crew, because they were revealed in just one screenshot, were going to be like, yeah, we'll rarely see them, but here they are anyway. But we're getting a good crossover where the lower decks people are helping with the senior staff. It's like roles reversed in a way, which is good, which is what the whole show's about. What do you guys think about that so far? Nick, what are your thoughts on it?
I think the mix is good. I think it's actually better in the second episode.
Which you've seen.
Yeah, I know. Which so one of the big issues that I actually had between the two episodes, which is why I wish that they had kind of aired both of them, which is in the first episode, they kind of play up a lot of the disconnect and maybe build up a little animosity between the senior staff and the lower decks crew. And I get that they kind of tried to do that to try to establish that there's differences in between the two of them, but it almost seemed like, like when Boimler goes onto the bridge and Ranson is like berating him, like, why aren't you at your post? And he's like, kind of being like, kind of a jerk, really. It comes off as a little like, okay, this isn't really like senior staff attitude. But in the second episode, not to give anything away, like they act very different and they're much more supportive, if that makes sense. It's almost as if they decided to dial that back a little bit. Because they played it up a lot in this first episode, but there's a bit of a disparity between the way that they acted in the first one and the way that they kind of act in the second episode, where everyone's kind of dialed down a little bit. They're a little bit more of traditional supportive leadership roles, if that makes sense. So yeah, I did like it though. I thought it was a great mix. One of my favorite scenes from this episode was actually when, what is the Trill's name? The female Trill. What is her last name? I don't remember.
Ensign Barnes. I don't know if she's a Trill.
I think she is, isn't she?
Yeah, she has the spots on her. Yeah.
But I thought it's more like skin-colored spots rather than.
I will just go quickly look at the screenshot while. Oh, no, okay.
I think she's a Trill. But anyway,
the one who was on a date with Rutherford, right?
Yes, the one who was on a date with
Ensign
Rutherford.
Barnes.
Yes, Ensign Barnes. Yeah, so where Barnes and Rutherford are on the outside of the ship and they're floating past a window, and in there you can see the chief of security doing the chief of security main plot stuff where he's beating up zombies and stuff, but we're outside the ship away from what he's doing, and they're over here talking about the monkeys and we're just following them, panning past that. Like, I liked how they were connecting both what they had to do, which is they were told just go to transporter room whatever and regroup, and they're like, all right, well, whatever. Meanwhile, the main bridge crew is doing other things on the ship to try to help out. They're probably doing other plans that we don't even know about. So I liked the dynamics they built up both when they were in the room together and then also just simple things like that. I thought it was cool. I thought that was very cool. A lot.
To be honest, yeah, I totally. What I love about that is everything's breaking down. So what music do you like? The date went really well, then really bad at the same time. It's like, I can't believe that worked, or didn't work. What it was, my door just didn't work properly.
Right, level 2 diagnostic. He wanted to run it.
An engine is life.
I think interesting going back on what you said with the disconnect between the lower decks crew and the bridge crew in the ready room, which followed the show, which is Will Wheaton talking about the show and talking with Mike McMahon and stuff.
Yep.
They said how the bridge crew look and act differently because we're only getting like a small view of the entirety of what they act like, because we don't have a show where we're following them for the entire episode. Some scenes look like, oh, they're being quite aggressive in this, but if we were to get another show which was just the bridge crew, we would see a different aspect of them, which I found really interesting.
I think once we spend more time with them as we go on through the Lower Decks season, we'll become more accustomed to attitudes. Speaking of which, our good friend Jessie Jerner just tweeted out, and I just saw this come up on my screen. She says, they say, to the folks who say the bridge crew on Lower Decks are too belittling to the Lower Decks crew when compared to the Next Generation, did you forget that Picard and the whole crew literally used to call Barclay broccoli behind his back? I love that one. Thank you, Mr. Broccoli. And you see everyone's face go,
Mr. Broccoli. Yeah, and again, and that's why I've been so adamant about telling people to hang tight for, if you're on the fence about episode 1, to hang tight for episode 2, because to me, I feel like they tweaked the formula just enough to where it really knocks it out of the park. I think that they tweaked it just enough. And part of that is the way that the bridge crew acts. Part of that is the way that their dynamic is. And you're right. Like, if we were hanging out with the bridge crew in this episode, right, in this specific episode, they would have arrived at the transporter room, barricading it while these zombies are trying to break through. Meanwhile, in the background, the away team beams up, and one of the ensigns is randomly wearing a farmer's jumper covered in purple slime. And if we were just seeing that in the background, we would all be like, what the hell happened to that guy? What the hell is that? And it would have been really like, oh, this guy is an idiot because he lost his uniform and he got attacked by some monster. But we know what happened in that situation because we were with them and not the opposite way.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that people stick around for the second episode and they'll see a bit of I don't want to get too much more into it, but there's a bit of a supportive element to the way that the bridge crew acts towards specifically one of the crew members that's going through kind of a something.
I'm looking forward to seeing that, to be honest.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I liked it quite a bit.
Jealous that you've seen the second episode already. Ooh. It's gonna be some choice words.
I'm excited for it. I'm excited. I hope people actually stick around and watch it. So.
I think they are. I mean, I've seen a lot of positive tweets about it. A lot of people we've said before, comedy is a hard one to nail end of, but with Star Trek as well, it is extra hard because we're not used to comedy inside of Star Trek that much. We get little tidbits here and there. However, we're not massively used to it. So this series was up for a challenge before it even began, really. So yeah, I hope people do give it a chance, and maybe once more episodes are out, people will see more and more of it. Like you say, stick around for episode 2. Things hopefully do become more prominent there. From what you say, it does make more sense, and it gives it more reason for people to stick around. Speaking more about the trailer for what's coming up on season 1 there as well. Did any moments particularly stick out to you guys? I know for myself, we see a few more Starfleet ships in it, and at one point we see another ship which is a little different. That I'm like, that looks pretty interesting. So I'm definitely on the lookout for that. Well, what stuck out to you guys?
Can I just say Edushin? Yes. Because I love Arex from the animated series. So just the fact that his species are coming back, I love so much. I was
doing the script earlier. That hallway moment where Boimler is glowing, apparently, there was a dog, and then is it Tendy there? I'm like, what drugs am I on? Honestly.
Yeah, I don't know what's happening in that scene, but I'm looking forward to finding out.
It's freaking weird, I can tell you that.
Yeah, I would say for me the highlight of the season highlight reel is that it looks like these crew members are going to be going on a lot of wacky adventures, and I think that's what I'm most excited about. Is it's and especially since this is a situation where every episode's going to be that I'm assuming, I don't know because I haven't seen every episode obviously, but the way I'm feeling right now is that every episode is going to be kind of that soft reset like TNG used to do, where like everything is like back to normal by the end of it, and then we restart the whole process all over again for the next one. So they're going to be going on doing a lot more zany things than like Picard or Discovery did, which every episode they just was a build upon from the previous one. So it was a constant kind of escalation to this grand finale that occurred. Whereas this one, you could have a big giant epic fight or big giant epic adventure in one episode, and the next one they're just cleaning out the sludge from the holodeck machine, you know, and that's what I'm excited about. They're just all over the place with it. So
lubing turbolift.
It just sounds such a bad job.
Yeah. So I'm excited for it. For sure.
I'm massively excited for it. I think season 1 is going to offer quite a lot more laughs. To be honest. Like, I'll be honest, I really enjoyed episode 1, but it didn't make me laugh as much as like maybe Dom did or you did, etc. Because comedy for me works differently. And this is something I got away with in our first review. Is like everyone's comedy taste is unique. Like I'm personally into one-off-handed comments, hence why I find Dr. Nana's "Is he fucking serious?" comment hilarious. However, other people may find more long-winded jokes hilarious in their own right. It comes down to how you prefer your comedy and what you find funny. Everyone's got a personal preference, which means like episode 1 may not work for you, but episode 2 could be absolutely hilarious. That is the beauty of a comedy series, to be honest. It's very hard to capture, every joke along with it. But there's some comedy series out there, and shall I say some other sci-fi comedy series, which don't work well for me. I just don't find it funny at all. It's enjoyable to watch, but nothing really makes me laugh that much. So it's comedy is subjective to a degree. Would you agree to that, or?
Absolutely, and I know you and I have talked about this before. We're like everyone compares this show to Rick and Morty, which is ridiculous because there's really no, to me, there's really no comparison other than kind of the characters' designs look a bit similar, but really that's about it, in my personal opinion. But like with Rick and Morty, I've watched it many, many times, and even when I watched it for the first time, I'm not really laughing. And there's episodes where I don't laugh at all.
Yeah.
But I still find it very entertaining. It's like a comedic entertainment where it's this constant, like just fun and atmosphere that they've created that is very interesting, very engaging. It kind of pulls you into this adventure that these characters are going on, which is that would be the only similarity between this show and Rick and Morty. Lower Decks is coming across as like, this is a comedic entertainment of adventure, and it's just supposed to be fun and just to be enjoyed as a fun thing. It's not to be taken seriously, and it's even if you don't necessarily get all the jokes, it's like, were you entertained? Are you entertained is really the big question here. And I think if people kind of just relax and just embrace the show a little bit, I think that they'll probably find out that they actually enjoy it. I was surprised to see as many mixed reviews on it as there were. I actually thought this was going to be kind of a slam dunk for a lot of people that did not like Discovery and Picard, but I don't know. I guess that's not the case.
I've not seen how far ratings are going for Lower Decks so far, and to be completely honest with you, I usually stay away from those sites because we well know that some sites do get review bombed. So it's like, especially when it's is it Metacritic or no? It's a game one, isn't it?
IMDb.
IMDb and Rotten Tomatoes, yeah.
I mean,
IMDb got
it's been seen in recent times that they just get review bombs. How can you trust them in terms of like audience score? Was it a game that came out? It was The Last of Us 2, I think. I didn't play it myself, but I obviously follow a lot of games journalism on Twitter because that is my area for the Captain Jack channel. And the Metacritic got review bombed in the first like half a day. We've obviously not played for the whole game considering it takes like 24 hours to play or something like that. So how can you judge it? And I think with every new thing that comes out now, you do get this certain group which are going to review bomb it. So how can you trust like Rotten Tomatoes? And it's not the site's fault. Well, it kind of is. They probably should do more vetting for actual reviews, or at least leave a window. So it is really hard to trust that. So but overall, I think because obviously we follow a lot of people on the TC account. I follow some Star Trek fans on my personal account. That's what you guys do as well. I've seen a lot of positive comments about it. Yes, I've seen people saying it's not really my cup of tea. Which is perfectly fine. We knew going in that this series wasn't going to be everyone's cup of tea, and that is the beauty of modern Trek, which we've discussed before. As TJ likes to put it, Trek is like a buffet table now. There is something there for everyone. If you want the more dramatic series, you've got Picard and Discovery. If you want the more like action-packed series, if you want a more fighting style series, that's going to be Section 31. The classic series probably going to be Strange New Worlds. Comedy is going to be Lower Decks, and if you want something to get your kids involved in Star Trek, Prodigy, there you go. I don't think I've missed anyone, but you get the point there. And apparently there's still another couple of shows in development anyway. I'm sure we'll hopefully learn about them either via a surprise CBS tweet at 10 o'clock on a Monday morning, knowing their luck, or SDC next year. I love it when they do that. Can I just say thank you, CBS, who shit the life out of me when you drop stuff at like 10 p.m. and I'm sat down with a nice cup of tea thinking, that's a good day's work finished. Oh, no, fuck that. We're back to this now. They always do it. It's good, but it's not fair. They know that I've put the kettle on at that point.
Yeah, it's the thing is, I mean, that's the thing is I'm not trying to, and I think this is important thing to think about, even as you as the audience who is viewing this discussion too, like when you're going out and having these chats with people online, like if somebody says like it's just not their thing, it's okay. Like it is okay. Yeah. Like I've had a lot of comments on that. Like, oh, I watched it. It just wasn't my thing. I didn't really like the comedy piece. I didn't really like the fact that it was animated. It just wasn't my cup of tea. And that is perfectly fine. Like it's okay not to like everything, Star Trek. That doesn't make you less of a Star Trek fan at all or anything like that. I've seen enough comments on the internet to know where people are either have blinders on or like comments where people clearly have not watched the episode at all and they're still acting as though they did, because like the things that they dislike are like these really weird generic kind of canned statements about it's just an abomination and the characters are terribly written and it's poor plot and it's like it doesn't even look like Star Trek
comments.
Right, it's a cut and paste comment, right? So it's like, you're not even giving it an opportunity, and that's the comments that I'm like the most upset about. Like, you didn't even give it a chance.
You've just come out of the basement purely to hate on it, essentially, which is disappointing.
Right. You just came over here just to shit on it, right?
It's just disappointing, really, because like, you could give it a chance, and most likely you probably would like it, to be honest. It could be. I think if anything, classical Trek fans who've been saying like Discovery and Picard have strayed too much from original Trek, if anything, Lower Decks is right back up that avenue, because it's like a love letter for the next generation. It's what people have been complaining about wanting for ages now. Since Discovery first got teased, people went, I want classic Trek back. Well, here you go. This is a progression from Nemesis. This is what people have wanted for quite a long time now, is stepping forward from Nemesis, Obviously, Picard did that, but apparently that was too far for some people. So here we go. We've gone 1 year later, and this is the universe of Star Trek now. Yes, it may be having a few laughs along the way, but yeah. And people saying it's badly written as well, like someone just said in the chat there. It's nothing specific. Like, I see specific criticisms like you just said, Nick, and then I see it's badly written, it's too generic, or the animation sucks. I saw comments that the animation sucks before we even saw the animation. I'm like, well, how can you tell? It's like, what?
Yeah, but a lot of people
I've been seeing, like,
confuse animation and artwork.
True.
Right. They were saying the animation sucks when we had the still images from last year's SDCC. You know what I mean? And it's like, how the hell did you even know that then? And it's like, the animation sucks. Well, what does that elaborate? What's the next line in that sentence? Please share with the chat. I would love to hear what is the next line? The animation sucks. An example, please. Because to me, technically speaking, everything looked fine. I don't understand what they mean by the animation sucks. I don't know what that means. I don't know what, like, it's fucking cartoons. It's moving. It's animated.
And the thing is, like, sucks. The animation, it's much more fluid than I expected it to be. Like, just a small thing, like seeing the blur lines for the back left that Mariner has in the first 5 minutes or so. Yeah. Like, it's so smooth. And really nice to look at and very clean, where it can present what it wants. So I really love the animation.
I thought it was great. Two standout moments of the animation for me was when Tendi was looking out the back window and was looking at the warp effect, and they cut back to them, and like as Boimler and her were talking, they kept blurring each other out. Like they kept doing like a little back so that you knew which character was talking. I thought that was great. And I loved the cut between them standing in the hallway and them being in the holodeck. Like that was a great cut. Like that's, to me, like that's a really good, like that was well done, like well edited, well thought out. That was a great transition. Like they they did a jump cut and they zoomed out and they were inside of the holodeck. I thought that was great. Like I I don't get it. I personally don't get the quote unquote animation sucks.
What's also interesting is that they limit the animation to what is feasible from TNG times. So they'll put camera angles in places where a physical camera could be placed.
Yeah.
So a lot of hallway shots will be down the hallway or in an adjacent hallway as you see them walk, which is to get that TNG feel. And I really feel that it comes across in the episode that even though it's animation, it still feels like
authentic.
TNG and authentic. If you replaced all the scenes with real sets and real characters but kept the same blocking and the same views, it would be a TNG shot, which is another love letter from the creators, that they have done the research. They want to make it look like TNG because it is a love letter to TNG. And that's just amazing.
Right. And there is even like a good another good example of that, of like the specific style, to again the Tendi sequence where she's looking out of the window. Like they could have taken the camera and put it, because it's animation, so they can go anywhere with the camera. The camera could have been outside the window looking in, but they didn't do it that way. They made it so that it was behind them, as if the physical, like you said, like a physical camera would actually be set in that position.
Yeah.
And then another style of TNG was when the Cerritos was just slowly panning across the screen with the warp effect.
Yeah.
That again, that's classic TNG. There it goes. There's just the slow moving Enterprise D, because they paid all that money for the one shot that they used for all friggin' 6 seasons. That
it's
they
like
had it running
the
for.
bird of prey one that used to get used all the time. Remember that? Is it Star Trek Generations reused the bird of prey shots from the Undiscovered Country? I'm pretty sure they did. So when you see the bird of prey destroyed, they're reusing. It's like they couldn't be asked to make it. It's probably budget constraints that did it.
Also, going back to the very beginning of this episode, when we see Douglas Station, the space dock type starbase, which is the worst name for a type of starbase. It's
Spacey McSpaceface.
It's got the same kind of camera angle as we've seen those previous starbases, because I think in TNG we saw a total of 4 or 5 of those types of starbases, but they were all variants of one of 2 different shots with different color graded planets to look like it was a different planet.
Right.
So it's just that they had the same camera angle for Douglas Station, but it was fresh.
Which makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Right, it does. And to me, like, it's hard for me to reconcile that level of detail and effort and put that into people who just comment the animation sucks, with no specific, like, were there breaks of the animation? Were there animation errors? Were there parts of the scene that were not drawn correctly? Like, was there one sequence where somebody's leg was missing? Like, I don't understand what that means. To me, I don't get it. I thought the animation was great, but maybe that's, I don't know.
I guess it's an opinion. In the chat just said love affair to the Next Generation, which I think is the best way to describe episode 1.
It is a love affair.
Series.
It is a love affair. Yeah.
I mean, Mike McCann wrote the book, was it the unaired season 8 of Next Gen, which Dom, you bought
I have it
and had
right
delivered
with
today,
me.
didn't you? How
it
you finding
arrived
that book
today. It is hilarious, but I will say it's even more ridiculous than Lower Decks.
Isn't there a reference in it somewhere, did you say, to Marina?
Oh, yes. So in one episode, cadets and ensigns on the Enterprise are doing a new fad called buffering, where they basically enjoy a high from transporting into objects, which is weird. But there is a reference to a cadet Beckett, which someone on the Trek Central Discord told me that there was a reference to Beckett, which is why I picked this up. That she explained to Worf, I believe, what buffering was. So the fact that Mike McMahon made the character of Beckett in this book from, I think, 2015, and has brought her back to be played by Tawny Newsome in this show is absolutely amazing.
I wonder what else is going to get dragged out of that book and into the show.
Oh, there's something. Well, I hope it's not like Worf is allergic to peanuts and fights peanut.
Oh my god, that
jars.
sounds a little bit wacky, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't think you'll expect stories of this caliber
to be honest,
in Lower
I think with
Decks.
Lower Decks anything is possible at this point, so I will happily wait and see, to what comes around.
Yeah.
Anything is possible. Before we do start wrapping up the stream, gents, I want to talk about one quick thing with you. It has been teased to us by the creators that legendary Next Generation characters could make cameos, or legacy Trek actors could make cameos in Lower Decks. So who do we have in mind, or who do you want to appear in Lower Decks from the characters we know of so far? Take it away, Mr. Nick.
Well, I do know that I think it was just the other day that Mike McMahon did confirm that they secured a few people for this. And I'm hoping that I feel like the obvious answers is we're going to get Patrick Stewart because he's done a lot of voice work and for animation and stuff like that.
Yes.
And then probably Jonathan Frakes, just because he's literally in everything that they're making.
I want Jonathan Frakes.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised by that. Because
I want him to square off against Ransom.
I don't even necessarily need to see him on the camera. The reason why I'm excited about this is because this show, for as far as we know, is considered canon. And we're not going to get into the rest of that whole conversation.
Titan.
Is the Titan. The Titan would be making a official canon debut in this specific show, and that I absolutely want to see.
If you'll excuse me, I'm going to go and lose my shit over that thought, just like it was in the Odyssey class.
And the thing is Mike McMahon is loves everything TNG, and that's probably one of the things that fans have been wanting a alpha canon confirmation on, other than the name, which we got from Nemesis.
We've never seen the class of ship.
We've never seen it for sure 100%, and that is, I feel like, something that Mike McMahon would actually put into the show. I feel like it's something he would put in there.
Because it does seem like Riker, when it was like in Nemesis, like, oh, we're going off to head up the diplomatic task force. It's like, it almost felt like, well, that's kind of important. That almost feels like a second contact mission, kind of. It's like, well, the Enterprise went and did all the interesting shit and stopped the coup. Riker's going to go clean up a mess now, essentially. It's kind of what he was doing there. Dom, before I jump to yourself, by the way, thank you to Tom Casey and William Mann who've made donations. Tom, I do apologize, I missed yours earlier. William says, hopefully Mike McCann becomes a staple of the new Trek creative team, even beyond Lower Decks. His interviews are outstanding. I agree. It almost feels like a similar thing to what you see over in the Star Wars fandom, where people are basically loving Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni right now. People are now loving Mike McCann in the same sort of context, which is great. But Dom, who out of the legendary Trek cast would you love to appear in Lower Decks?
I've got to turn to my favorite series of Deep Space Nine.
Ooh.
So obviously, I think, if we get Quark, that would be great. I think Armin Shimerman would be great. But I think the best voice actor to return is for Morn. I think he would be amazing.
Oh, for God's sake!
You could get him to shut up.
The amount of jokes you've made about this in the last 6 months. God, Jesus.
Morn is a great character. But going back to more serious stuff, I think just DS9 characters, whether it be, like I say, Quark, with some weird situation with the Cerritos, or Julian Bashir and Esri Dax on the Aventine. That would be great if that comes into canon, the same way you talked about the Titan. I think that would be beautiful. And just get a semblance of what they're up to, because I miss DS9 crew and I wanna know more.
Would you like to know more?
I would love Riker as my default answer to that. I would like a bit of Picard as well, but I would definitely like Riker to be the Titan. Also, very recently, I found the Star Trek Discovery outtakes on YouTube, and there's just a bit of Jonathan Frakes shouting in the background, and it's like, Answer Man's like, he thinks he's an actor. And it's like, I'm just pissing myself at that thing. Also, I found this great new YouTube channel called Intakes, I believe it is, where basically, the Next Generation outtakes you get, where it's like, Worf's like, I never played with, but, and he stops there. There's now a channel which takes those outtakes and merges them with the actual clip, and it's hilarious. There's an actual thing where it's like, there's a conversation between Trip, Archer, and to Paul, and it's like Archie goes, just sneezes, and Chip goes, "Bless you, Captain," and the scene just resumes. It's hilarious. I think it's called Ryan's Edits or something like that.
It is Ryan's Edits. Yes.
Yeah. For those of you who want to laugh, watch his channel, because the whole Star Trek intakes thing is absolutely hilarious. This is now keeps me going.
And they're posting new stuff every day.
Which is
I think their recent intake came out yesterday, which is hilarious. Which I think is Worf walking into a door.
Oh, the outtake is him walking into a door. And also one of was it Worf and Geordi like high-fiving when they celebrate being rescued, while Picard's like doing it. You see poor like Marina Sirtis Deanna Troi pissing herself in the background.
Yep.
That'd be hilarious. So William Mann says perhaps we'll get Frakes in the form of Tom Riker. Could be. I mean, they are dealing with second contact missions. That is something to consider when we like doing our wish list, to be honest.
Yes.
This is not the most important ship around. Therefore, we shouldn't expect everybody of importance to show up in a way, really. I mean, hey, Admiral Janeway could be a thing, just saying, because she's an admiral by this time. I mean, just start my wish list now of everything we could include in this series, and it'll be done by the end of the year.
Yes.
I mean, they can do all sorts of stuff, and again, like because it's animated, it's easier, I think, to digest, and it's easier to plug it in, because even if they wanted to do a Janeway or a Riker or a Picard, like you don't have to get them. Kate Mulgrew doesn't have to get to set and get into makeup and a costume fitting and then be on set. I remember, like they can just get her in the booth and then she just records it, and then they'll just have somebody animate the character. Like it's easier to kind of do that. In terms of logistically, I'm sure there's a lot.
I think going into Voyager stuff, it would be great if we saw Ensign Kim. That'd be great.
Yeah,
Still an ensign. He's joining the Lower Decks crew.
That'd be hilarious. Yeah, maybe he's just got lieutenant at that point. Maybe lieutenant.
Well, you know,
Maybe just.
So talking about actually, Jack, when you were mentioning the second contact mission from the Titan that was supposed to be doing after Nemesis, going back into Romulan territory to help out after the coup. If I remember right, during the highlight reel at the end of this episode, where it's the whole thing where he's like maneuver 88 or whatever, they cut back to the bridge crew and someone's holding a Romulan neutral zone. Is that who it is that's holding the Romulan neutral zone?
In an earlier scene with the bug insect on the view screen, the captain is holding a map of the Federation Romulan neutral zone.
Gotcha. So we may actually get pretty close to that area. So maybe we will see
it. Could be they link up and go, how's it going? It's going absolutely terrible.
Well, you know, that could be like maybe they're assisting the Titan in some second contact mission or something like that.
Because this does bring me to one final point. Star Trek Lower Decks has so far introduced us to new ships so far. Picard, we didn't really get that. There wasn't many Starfleet ships, and that was one of the big gripes about it in a lot of people's things, apart from the USS Copy and Paste. Sorry, the whatever it's called, the Inquiry class. Not the USS Copy and Paste, that's a bad joke. However...
No, that's a fair criticism and a fair point. That's no, it is the USS.
Could have given me a Sovereign class or an Odyssey class, but no, you let me down, CBS. If season 2 doesn't include the Enterprise F, I will cry.
Odyssey. Oh.
Just want to be honest. It's over there on my shelf right now. Honestly, I love that ship. Honestly, we need more of it. Anyway, what I was going to say, it's possible that Titan could be shown on screen in the upcoming trailer. We also did see another class of ship, which is kind of similar to the Ceratops, but is almost like a nebula class in a way. Yeah, and we also see a few in the background as well. Like with Douglas Station shot, there's a few extra ships going around, which look just like kit bashes of the Ceratops or similar ships, etc.
Is great. I mean, some of the kit bashes they came up with in like DS9, the Curry class.
Oh god,
is the ugliest ship you'll ever see.
The Excelsior's like core switched around the other way.
Yes, but it's like put forward. It's weird. But yeah, I the ships we have seen in the background look very interesting, and I would like to see where they go with that.
I used to play a mod called Star Trek Armada for Sins of the Solar Empire, which obviously Star Trek Armada being with the game, but this is called Star Trek Armada 3, great mod by the way, and that you had a Courier class, and when I first found it, I was like, I've never seen this in Star Trek before. Oh, it's just disgusting, that's why. And then you have the Polaris class, it's like the Dreadnought, now they can replace it with the Odyssey. Oh, we should play that one night for a laugh. That'd be great.
I would be down for that.
That would
Did you provide the wine?
It'll
be good.
The wine.
Donate now, so my bank account doesn't take a shafting. Yeah, have you still got your bottle? How empty is it? Have you cracked that one open yet?
No, this guy will never be opened. This is going to be. Yeah, I'll buy another crate.
Until I appear.
Well, that's true.
Dom
if you guys ever
kicks down
visit
the
me
door.
in the States, I'll bust that up. We can drink it on top of that giant wooden crate that I have.
Don't pack your bags, we're leaving. Get your coat. Right, anyway, people, we're going to be ending off the stream as we've gone for an hour and 15 minutes right now. I hope you enjoyed our discussions on Star Trek Lower Decks Episode 1. We'll, of course, be back next week at the same time of 9 p.m. BST to discuss Episode 2, which I've forgotten the name of. Has it actually been named yet or not?
Is it the Envoys?
I think it is. Yeah, well, the rest of the names were released, but I forgot.
I don't remember.
It might be called Envoys, it might
Envoys.
not be called that. We'll be back for episode 2 regardless. Don't forget our weekly reviews come out on Thursdays because the episode airs then and there. Unfortunately, there are no details on an international distributor for Lower Decks just yet. Once we learn anything about that, we'll of course let you know. It is disappointing, I know. We'll be discussing this in later details as we progress on through the weeks. I'm just hoping that something might come out soon, so everyone's cross your fingers and try to avoid spoilers online. Of course, all our videos regarding Lower Decks are going to contain spoilers. If you made it this far, what are you doing? We've been discussing spoilers the whole time.
But
this is your fault.
We will always have a spoiler tag.
Exactly.
So
Even if Jack forgot it in this stream and didn't put it on the screen. But oh well, you've kind of got the point.
Okay.
It's your fault
We'll
if you
always
came
have
here
it
anyway.
after today. We'll always have it.
It's going to get a giant
Yeah.
flashing one. Did you like the look of our streams today for you two? Because I kind of updated it. We've got the Douglas Station behind us and Dom's face.
Yes, I really
Yeah,
like
You've
it.
only just noticed it,
Yeah.
haven't you?
Well, I have
all
the
this
chat
work and
thing,
nothing.
so I don't see
No,
too
I think it's cool. I think
things
it's great.
working.
On the start screen, it's animated. I might animate it in future.
Ooh.
That's not getting done. Not a chance in hell.
Nope.
All right, everyone. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you to Dom and Nick for tuning in tonight. Next week we're back with hopefully us two again. Hopefully, I mean not two. And we might have a special guest. Not sure yet. We'll see and update you throughout the week. Don't forget you can follow us on social media. And yeah, that's basically everything. Gents, thank you for joining me. I hope you're gonna have a good evening.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks.
Don't
Yeah,
you give me
too.
that sarcastic Vulcan salute, Mr. Kowalski. All right, chat. Thank you very much. I've of course been Captain Jack, your host this evening. We'll see you next week. Goodbye. That's the button to end it.